This is 7 National News with Scott Lambert.
Good evening. Tonight, near tragedy during the big City to Surf race. A helicopter crash lands, 4 on board injured. Another gold in LA in the gruelling heptathlon. And a great turnout for City to Surf 84. 3 men and a woman were injured when a helicopter carrying a news crew crashed during today's City to Surf run. The Bell Jet Ranger, chartered by Sydney's Channel 10, managed to crash land on a Rushcutters Bay sports field, barely 100 metres from crowds of people competing in the run.
A Channel 7 crew taping the City to Surf run looked up to see the chopper spiralling towards the ground.
Nose down at about 45 degrees, just coming out of the sky.
Help was quick to arrive. John Woolcock was competing in the run. He saw one of the crew trapped under the helicopter.
We lifted the chopper a little and were able to release him. I was a little bit worried it was going to explode, so we did it quickly without much thought for what was actually wrong with him.
Moments later, ambulance teams arrived to treat the injured. All were bleeding and badly shocked. The helicopter itself, owned by Sydney firm Heliost, was badly damaged. On impact, the main rotor sheared off, sending pieces of metal flying. Department of Aviation inspectors said it was fortunate the aircraft landed on its left-hand side, with the fuel inlet facing up. If fuel had spilled, the danger of an explosion would have been extreme. So far, the cause of the crash is unknown. Some witnesses said the aircraft seemed to lose power while hovering at about 500 feet.
We can only thank God, I suppose, that it didn't come down in the middle of the crowd in the City to Surf.
It's just a terrifying sight to see a helicopter come down like that.
It's understood the cameraman kept his tape rolling right up until the moment of impact. Investigators hope it will give them a clue as to why the crash occurred. Jeremy Thompson, 7 National News.
And good luck to the crew. One more gold for Australia at the Olympics today. For Adelaide school teacher Glynis Nunn. She won the gruelling heptathlon, Australia's first Olympic track and field gold for 16 years. In Los Angeles, Gary Wilkinson.
Well, Scott, South Australia's Glynis Nunn is certainly the heroine tonight. A magnificent performance to beat the world's best all-round women athletes in the multi-track and field heptathlon event. Silver and bronze medals in weightlifting, swimming and rowing on top of that, but Glynis Nunn, the real story. In 3rd place after the first 4 events yesterday when she ran a hurdles record, setting up her charge in the final 3 events today.
Glynis Nunn launched her challenge for the gold with a best ever leap of 6.66 metres in the long jump. The javelin was a critical test. It's not Glynis's strong point, but while the other top contenders threw below expectations, she came up with another personal best of 35.46 metres. Going into the final event, the 800, the Australian girl trailed America's Jackie Joyner by only 31 points, with Sabine Everts of West Germany 3rd. Glynis needed to run about 2 minutes 10, and regardless of where she finished on the track, beat Joyner by at least 15 metres to snatch the gold.
Joyner's gone. I think Nunn's going to win the gold if she can hang on. Everts clear. Nunn's got the gold, I reckon. Then Livermore and further back Greiner and Joyner. It's Everts in front. Glynis has got to keep going. She's going to win the gold. Everts first, Nunn second. I think she's got the gold.
After an agonising wait for times to be analysed, it's announced that Glynis's points total for the 7 events is 6,390, a bare 3 points better than the American, with Everts taking the bronze. Australia's first track and field gold since Mexico 68 goes to Glynis Nunn. And in weightlifting, our first Olympic medal since Helsinki 52, with Robert Cabas getting silver in the 82.5 kilo division. Beșeru of Romania won the gold, and this lift of 192.5 in the clean and jerk sets a new Australian record for Robert Cabas, the silver medal winner. The Olympic swimming program wound up today with more medals for Australia. The first, a silver to the Nara girl, Karen Phillips, behind America's Madam Butterfly, Mary T. Mayer, in the 200 final. Karen Phillips slashed seconds off her previous best for the silver and a Commonwealth record. And the men's medley relay team rounded out the performance with a bronze. The swim team reached 25 finals for 12 medals, including a gold and a world record. And team manager Tom Brazier says the performance has drawn praise even from the all-conquering Americans.
Yes, Ray Essick, the American Executive Director of Swimming, came up to me and congratulated me on behalf of his team and said that there's no doubt that we were the team of the meet. He said, forget gold medals, you were the team of the meet. And the reason was that their swimmers have been in there from 6 to 8 years with the Moscow wipeout, and they're up there going for those medals at their peak and on the way out, most of them. This is their last meet for probably about half the gold medals from America. And our youngsters are in there snapping at the heels, and he said he was most impressed and they'd have to watch their laurels.
At Lake Casitas, Australia on this side of the course in the final of the women's coxed fours. Romania powering away from Canada. Australia in a desperate finish for third. A great result, Australia's first ever Olympic medal in women's rowing. Australia left no doubts about its gold medal claims in hockey today with a 4-2 victory over the 8-time former Olympic champions India. We're now in the semis with Great Britain, the Netherlands and Pakistan, but coach Richard Agus warns they'll all be tough.
All three of those sides are very good sides. We would need to play in very, very good form to beat them, and so I don't think anybody should be starting to celebrate or buy us presents or anything like that until we've done it, because all the top 4 teams are very, very good teams.
The first of the great men's finals at the track, the 100 metres.
Brilliantly, Johnson away well. Stewart running magnificently. Granny's in front. Lewis will get him though. Lewis wins the gold. What a runner!
The first of 4 possible golds for the incredible Lewis.
The medal tally shows the United States still streaking away. 38 gold now. China 12, Romania 9, West Germany and Japan 6 each, Canada and Italy 5 apiece, Australia next with 3 gold, 6 silver and 9 bronze. The track program continues tomorrow. The highlights include the women's marathon and the 100 metres sprint final, and for Australia in rowing, a big medal chance in the men's 8 final.
Meantime, 2 golden heroes arrived home today. Cyclists Michael Grender and Michael Turter, half the team that struck gold in the 4,000 metres team's pursuit, found a surprising and very emotional welcome.
Michael Grender's parents, Ron and Claire, sisters Nikki and Julie, and fiancée Karen Draper flew in from their home in Launceston yesterday, while Michael Turter's wife Denise arrived from Adelaide this morning. And finally, they were there for the welcome they deserved.
How are you, right?
And as for those hard-won medals, they went straight to the girls. Michael Turter was critical of some decisions which allowed the American team to continue after mishaps on the track, but took no pleasure when the Americans lost a rider in the final.
Just makes you wonder why things like that can go on in Olympic Games when the rules are set down and they're just broken.
And just what was it like to cross that finish line first?
We were all ecstatic, you know, it was fantastic. It was just, it was like a dream come true. We just couldn't believe it. It was great.
Still to come tonight, radiation danger denied after Lucas Heights leak and the Queen Mother's birthday celebrations.
Norman Ross have cooked up some super specials for their one-week cooking spectacular.
Guaranteed. There's 200 only Pacific Rangers priced to go at a low $299. And this latest fan-forced Westinghouse is an ideal replacement stove for just $549. The Chef Marquis fan-forced wall oven with integrated microwave is a real space and money saver at $899.
Spectacular products, spectacular prices at the Norman Ross Cooking Spectacular.
Guaranteed.
You can count on Clifton's Toyota Tamworth, the biggest Toyota dealer in northern New South Wales. Clifton's have huge stocks of passenger cars and Australia's biggest selling range of commercials. Their mechanics are factory trained and backed by a huge spare parts warehouse. More and more people are buying from Clifton's Tamworth because they do a good deal better. Clifton's Tamworth, the biggest Toyota dealer in northern New South Wales.
What a feeling to drive.
Equip 84 with the Commonwealth Development Bank, August 21, 22, 23 at Gunnedah, New South Wales. The biggest ever, open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Look, my very own prince have just arrived arrived at Best and Less. There's something for all my little friends. What a treat!
Yes, these strawberry shortcake prints are only at Best and Less now. On tank tops and shorts, $2.99. T-shirts and tops, $3.99. There are skirts, dresses, and even nighties. And for a real treat, $7.99 for sweatshirts, jogger pants, or knit skirts. Only at Best and Less now.
Where we don't pay for any fancy overheads.
People living near Sydney's Lucas Heights Nuclear Research Station want a public inquiry into a contaminated gas leak from the plant. Although the incident happened last month, it wasn't revealed until today. But the Atomic Energy Commission says there was no danger.
The accident happened 4 days before the ALP National Conference voted to soften its anti-uranium policy. Federal Energy Minister Peter Walsh had been told of the incident, as had state authorities, but no public announcement was made. Contaminated gas leaked from a highly sensitive laboratory working on radioactive isotopes. According to the Commission, the amount of leakage was within authorised safety limits.
At no time were we going to exceed the sorts of standards laid down by the various state authorities.
Local residents are afraid similar, even more dangerous incidents could occur without warning.
This is another example of the fact that the AAC just doesn't inform people about what's going on.
Federal Labor MP Robert Tickner says he wasn't informed, even though Lucas Heights is in his electorate. He's concerned about the danger to people working on the site, as well as the health risks to residents.
I believe that what is required, at the bare minimum, is a very full inquiry, and that the results of that inquiry should be made publicly available at the earliest opportunity.
Laurie Patton reporting, 7 National News.
More than $1 million worth of cigarettes has been stolen in a daring raid on a Sydney warehouse. 4 robbers, one of them armed, tied up 2 security guards during the heist, which began yesterday at the Brambles Bond store in Mascot.
Scientific squad detectives were on the scene today looking for vital clues which may lead them to the 4 robbers. The well-planned heist began at 12:30 yesterday afternoon when a 66-year-old watchman on duty at the warehouse received a call from a man asking to be allowed to place some goods in the store. 2 hours later, a truck arrived with 2 men on board. After allowing them in, the guard was overpowered by 2 other men who alighted from the back of the truck. The men then shackled the guard with chains and tied him up to a pipe in one of the toilets. After isolating the alarm system, the 4 men used forklifts to load 43 pallets containing more than 1,300 cartons of cigarettes onto the truck and then waited for another watchman. When the second watchman arrived, he was confronted by 2 masked men, one armed with a shotgun, and was tied up with rope in another toilet. It wasn't until 8:30 last night before one of the guards broke free and raised the alarm. A spokesman for Brambles refused to comment on the raid today, except to say it was embarrassing. Alan Hind, 7 National News.
Israel's Labour Party seems to have gained enough support from minor parties to make it the next government, ending the stalemate of last month's inconclusive general election. But neither Labour nor the former government wanted the vote of newly elected Rabbi Meir Kahane, whose vehement anti-Arab ideas are arousing strong Israeli opposition.
For years, the Israeli establishment ignored Rabbi Meir Kahane, the founder of the right-wing Jewish Defense League. Now it can't. The elections gave him a seat in parliament and made him an instant media star. His solution for the Palestinian problem is simple: kick the Arabs out.
I advocate an exchange of populations. We took in the Jews, let us give them our Arabs, with compensation.
When Kahane went to see Israel's president, like all other party leaders elected to parliament, police turned Kahane away at the gate after the president refused to meet with him. Kahane just revels in the publicity and threatens to march on an Arab village to get more.
I am going to the Arab village of el-Fahim in Israel, a nest of vipers and snakes.
The answer from the Arabs of el-Fahim today was a demonstration against fascism. Hundreds of Israeli Jews were there too, supporting the Arabs. The Arabs said Kahane is a maniac, but his support is real.
The Queen Mother has celebrated her 84th birthday with a warm show of public affection. Usually she appears on the balcony of her home, Clarence House, but this year she walked to the street to greet well-wishers. The band of the Grenadier Guards played Happy Birthday. And children surged forward to hand her presents and posies. The Queen Mother had a health check earlier in the week. The result, excellent. Next, Rex Mossop with all today's sport, including a slippery surface for the Scholastic 300. And the Americans launched their own winged keel Challenger.
edition, 50th anniversary Nissan Bluebird. Discover it at your Nissan dealer now.
Come alive, come and drive Nissan.
Equip 84 with the Commonwealth Development Bank, August 21, 22, 23 at Gunnedah, New South Wales. The biggest ever, open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
There's never been a better time to escape than now. Whether you want oceans of peace or boatloads of fun, let P&O's Great White Ocean liner Ariana take you away on the Great Eastland Television Pacific Paradise Cruise. A holiday to treasure forever. 14 dream-filled nights, and just imagine those days amid the beauty of the Pacific Islands. You'll visit Auckland, Suva, Savu Savu, Lautoka, Vila and Numia. Come away with us for a special pre-departure get-together, the captain's cocktail party, 2 shore excursions free, and you'll receive a free Italian-designed travel bag and $30 transportation allowance to Sydney. P&O's Ariana has everything. Wine and dine, dance and romance, swim, go to the gym, the movies, the library, browse through the specialty shops. Dennis Lilly and Bruce Yardley are joining the cruise. Why don't you come along too? Book now for your Great Eastland Television Pacific Paradise Cruise at your nearest Travelland Centre. See these agents at Tamworth, Foster, Taree, Port Macquarie, Moree, Inverell, Glen Innes and Armidale.
Now, today's sport, here's Rex.
Good day, Scotty, and good evening, everybody. Well, Sydney runner Andrew Lloyd today won the Sun City to Surf for the second consecutive year. Robert de Castello's race record, set in 1981, still stands, though. Lloyd's winning time was 41 minutes and 51 seconds.
Firstly, a message for our Los Angeles marathon hopeful. Then they were off.
They're off.
Over 30,000 runners headed off down William Street in this 14th city to surf. Andrew Lloyd, Jody Kearns and Adam Hoyle got a good start with an early break from the thousands of fun runners. Some backmarkers didn't cross the starting line until others were 10 minutes into their run. Such was the congestion at the start. Hoyle led Lloyd 12 minutes into the race as they approached Rose Bay. But the notorious Heartbreak Hill saw Lloyd surge away to a comfortable lead, which he retained for the rest of the race. Heartbreak Hill had quite the opposite effect on other runners. Many slowed to a walk, while some hoped to get a boost with a drink and a few deep breaths. Lloyd finished over 10 seconds ahead of Hoyle, posting a personal race best, 39 seconds outside De Castello's record.
Well done and congratulations to Andrew Lloyd.
Whoever gets up the hill first is generally the winner. I don't think it's been changed since the race started.
16-year-old Sharon Dalton of Manly was the first woman over the line in 50 minutes and 3 seconds for her first city to surf. Karen Pratt, 7 National News.
Well, a day of upsets and sensations in today's round of rugby league across a wet Sydney town. Canterbury put paid to South Sydney for 1984 in a controversial game at Redfern. Norths upset the Panthers 28-18. Balmain took a long time to account for Western Suburbs. Parramatta got the better of Easts in a thriller. And Illawarra continued the upsets with a 4-point win over St George. Well, Canterbury started very slowly, allowing South to run to a 6-0 lead after 17 minutes at Redfern today. And it took a very controversial Terry Lamb try to get the Bulldogs rolling and run out ultimate winners 20 points to 6. A combination of very tight defence and some weird refereeing frustrated South's players into some stupid niggling actions which culminated with their new captain Mario Fennick being sin-binned for 10 minutes for dissent. Here's the way the action went with the tries, and South's hit with the first one, and it was a good try. If they could have kept this style of football up, they'd have done better. Thomas gets it away to Popchi, and after 5 minutes of handle, he goes over in the corner. Good stuff. But Canterbury looked very ordinary early, but then Broman intervened with a beautifully judged little kick, but I'll swear Terry Lamb didn't get a hand properly to this ball to exert downward pressure. And that try was given, and that was a major turning point because South seemed to fall apart. And then Mortimer, the Mortimer magic, out to Potter, and then a long floating pass out to Peter Mortimer, and he was in. And then this beautiful bit of Steve Mortimer magic and pace from Mannix, and that's what he's in the side for, to escort this sideline and go in and score a very good try. Well, Norths were a thorn on the side of Balmain last week, and today they were the same for Penrith. Mark Levy's kickers charged down. Second rower Gary Dunbarrow's on the spot to pick up the ball. He slips, stands and gets it onto Ricky Warford, and he's scored a bundle of tries for the Bears lately. Norths were never in trouble, and tries came as easily as this, with Spina hacking the ball. He dives on it, as does Rogers, and the try, if you can call it that, is given to Rogers. Well, St George could ill afford losing to the Steelers, but they did just that, with ex-Saints Rod Reddy getting away with a forward pass in the lead-up to the Steelers' first try. The Saints could really only blame themselves for the loss, with soft defence like this, which allowed Illawarra 5'8" Greg Mackey to score the first of his 2 tries under the posts. So the league ladder, very, very congested, looks like this, with Canterbury clear on 36 points from Parramatta 34, St George 32, then Manly and Canberra on 28, Penrith now 27, then Balmain, Illawarra and Souths are 2 points back 24, then Norths, Cronulla, Easts and Western Suburbs. Well, it was the same old story for the Sydney Swans at the SCG this afternoon, another defeat. North Melbourne outkicked the Swans to the tune of 18-5 to 17-6 for a 15-point victory. Well, the Nissan Turbo team has struck gold for the second successive year at Amaroo Park this afternoon, with Queenslander Gary Scott scoring an effortless win in the Silastic 300.
Wet weather conditions played havoc with a number of the front runners in the Silastic Enduro. Queenslander Gary Scott had pole position for the race, but elected to start the event on slick or dry track rubber. That gave former Kiwi and Rainmaster Jim Richards the break he needed. Richards reeled off for a number of quick laps in the wet, but as the track began to dry, his times fell away and he found himself caught up and passed by both Terry Finnegan and Peter Brock. Finnegan and Scott made their forward moves after 30 laps, but the Commodore driver's race had to end when he slammed in the concrete wall. Brock also went out of the race after a bump with a slower car on the entry to the pit road. Scott, though, drove brilliantly and crossed the finishing line 23 seconds ahead of Harrop Harris in the Commodore and Peter McLeod's Mazda RX-7.
Almost a year since Ben Lexon's wing keel helped Australia to win the America's Cup, the Americans have come up with their own, but it's mounted on a well-known Sea Warrior, which will be a trophy challenger.
The way to get the cup back is with a boat that measures 12 meters and has 13-meter performance.
The Americans are still smarting and a little dazed. It's been the same since Alan Bond and his merry men sailed out of Newport, Rhode Island with the cup that had remained in this country for 132 years. But with their challenge still more than 3 years and 24,000 kilometres away, the Courageous 2 syndicate have decided to reveal all.
I christened the Courageous 2.
Designer Leonard Green calls them Vortex Wings, having dispensed with the term keel. The rest of the boat is the old Courageous 1, a Ted Turner discard.
If Alan Bond put a case of beer on Vortex Wings, they'd slide off.
An apparent reference to the proud placing of a case of cans on Australia 2's keel when it was first displayed last year. The Americans obviously think their new keel is more streamlined, and they've already begun to celebrate. Perhaps they'll be too drunk to race by the time they get to Perth. In the United States, Greg Hoy reporting for 7 National News.
I say ban the keel. Pardon me. Relegation threatened Croatia, gained a valuable point from defending champion Sydney City in today's National Soccer League. Both sides scored a goal for the stalemate. Marconi and Parramatta did the same, while Leichhardt edged out St George 3-2. Olympic thrashed Wollongong 3-0, and Penrith and Brisbane both failed to find the net in their clash. Well, let's look at those all-important soccer pools information for you. The winning numbers are 5, 6, 8, 21, 28 and 32, with 1 the supplementary. Now again, 5, 6, 8, 21, 28 and 32, with 1 the supplementary. That's all there is. There isn't any more. Scott.
And still to come, Mike Bailey's weekday weather, but first, footy tab dividends for lucky fans.
Avoiding danger at level crossings is the motorist's responsibility. So think and act carefully for the sake of yourself and those whose lives are in your hands.
Come on into Wilton's and you'll see someone like me with a special new job who checks around the competition doing your comparison shopping for you. Now you don't have to worry about prices on big electricals, and we have so many time-saving appliances. You don't have to worry about prices on floor coverings. No job is too big or too small. You don't have to worry about furniture prices, and you get a great selection of styles. In every department, our ranges are getting better. Come on into Waltons. We'll give you our best.
Benadryl expectorant is one cough medicine that makes a promise it can prove. Clinical studies clearly demonstrate that Benadryl's unique formulation stops coughing rapidly. Benadryl starts working in just 15 to 30 minutes. And what's more, clinical studies show that Benadryl continues to suppress the urge to cough for hours. Ask your chemist for Benadryl expectorant from Park Davis. It stops coughing rapidly.
Available from your local North Farm pharmacy. In Kurundai, see Selbrine and Stevenson's. In Werris Creek, Neil Duncan. And in Walgett, McCullum and Austin. North Farm, one of the family. Here are a few facts about fiberglass tanks from Tank World Tamworth. 1. Tank World fiberglass tanks are very easy to transport and relocate. 2. Tank World fiberglass tanks are not affected by ground movement and can be located with ease. 3. Tank World fiberglass tanks do not affect the taste of water. 4. Tank World fiberglass tanks are maintenance-free, do not need repainting, and they look great. 5. Fiberglass tanks from Tank World come with a 15-year written guarantee. Fiberglass tanks from Tank World Tamworth.
Good evening. The rain came back today as expected, and on our radar scan at the moment, some moderate falls out to the west of Sydney, and the rain will continue overnight, but tomorrow things should be brighter. The rain and cloud with it also had an effect on temperature in the Sydney region today. The maximums down a little below the average in some areas, down as low as 15 there at Richmond, 6 to 7 the range at Katoomba, and 12 to 17 there for the Central Coast. Talking of rain, our state map tonight shows the heaviest falls, and they've been over the inland yet again this weekend. 28 millimetres at Wilcannia, the top for the 24 hours to 9 this morning, then 9 to 3 Brewarrina with 16 millimetres, and the same fall at Dubbo with the top scores. And the temperatures pushed all the way up to 23 degrees at Narrabri after -3 for the minimum last night at Thredbo. A satellite photograph still shows some cloud across New South Wales and some more down in the Bight with that low pressure system. The rain band ahead of that system is what has been spreading across New South Wales, but it should mostly clear the state tomorrow except for the southeastern corner. There's a high pressure system out in the Tasman Sea that's been feeding moist, humid northeasterly air into the system as it's moved across, and the low has proved very slow moving. However, as it moves away to the southeast corner tomorrow, the winds are likely to freshen, and there's a strong wind warning out now for south coastal waters from Ulladulla further south. Forecast for tomorrow, what you'd expect, I guess, for a Monday. It's back to work for most people, but not all tomorrow. Of course, it is bank holiday, so those sunny periods will be welcome for those able to enjoy that holiday. Moderate northwest to northeasterly winds and seas slight on a low to moderate swell. 12 to 19 for the city, 11 to 19 out west, and on the mountains, rain will clear again overnight. Fogs and partly cloudy tomorrow, 4 to 10. The central coast, rain also clearing with sunny periods developing, 11 to 19. The further outlook is for mild days with the northwest to northeasterly winds freshening about midweek, and the tides for tomorrow in the Sydney region. We have high water at 10 to 4, 1.1 metre, a low around 20 to 10 in the morning, that's 0.4 of a metre. So overall, getting brighter for tomorrow across most of New South Wales, and good news that most of the rain, as we mentioned on Friday night, did hang off until after the city to surf. Now here's Scott.
And that's the news tonight, but as I say goodnight, a reminder to join Ross Simons with the news tomorrow when, exclusive to 7 National News, Australia's first heart patient Peter Apthorpe talks about his new life, his hopes and his fears. Tomorrow night, 6:30.